Hi, I thought I would make a short video just to share what what I'm doing that's blessing me and how I approach Yahweh, and that there really is a right way. There's a right way to approach him. Yahweh commands us to draw near to him, and he'll draw near to us. But he also says that we should resist the devil. We resist those bad thoughts and say, nope, not receiving that. And then he commands us to purify our hearts and wash our hands. That means be done with sin. And sometimes for me, I've already given him my life and my heart, and I've made that decision. And it really is a decision to make. It's a covenant. It's a solemn covenant, just like a marriage is. But it's really even more important than marriage, because he's the eternal God. He holds our heart. Our heart is in his hand. He's the one that keeps us alive. And so our relationship to him is more important than anything else. We're not really making him God. He already is. And it's in turning, if we turn away from him, he's the light. So what happens if I turn away? I'm in darkness because I'm in his hand. And so that's why sometimes we experience times of darkness and deep, deep sorrow. That's a separation from Yahweh. And we don't have to run from that in fear when we know that there is a very real way of healing that. And that way is in Yeshua, is in the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus. And I know most of you know about him, but it's a completely different thing to just know about him in your head or to know him in your heart. And to know him in your heart, you have to begin to do what he did, learn what he learned. He studied the Torah. He studied the commandments and say what he said. And that's how the power that's in Yahweh, that holds the universe, who upholds the universe in his hand, can be made alive in us. We can open the door of our heart through prayer and time in his word and meditating on his word. But it's important to stay in his word, because in the world there's something called an anti-Messiah spirit. And that's really not so much anti, it's not always looking like something mean and hostile and attacking. Anti-Messiah, it's just something that's in place of, that sits in the place of him. So in other words, our hearts have a throne, and the world and even our flesh will try to compete to have a place on that throne. And that's where all those really aberrant, weird lusts of the flesh come in. It might start out just a little bit out of control. But the problem is, flesh doesn't really settle for a little bit of power. No, it wants the throne. It doesn't just want our throne. What it really wanted was God's throne. That's what the serpent wanted in the beginning in the garden. He was competing for God's throne that he was establishing on the earth in the hearts of men. And so that's what the big spiritual battle and the big spiritual war is all about. Who really is God? And who deserves that kind of glory and honor? And that's what we begin to see when we look in the Bible and pray, that he'll show us as we look to him. I don't look to man, I don't look to things of the world. I lay all my idols down. Everything that I've put before him, ahead of him, I have to lay down before I can't connect on a heart level. I can speak the words, I receive Yeshua as my Savior, but if I never get rid of those idols, then I don't have a heart connection. I don't have the power of the Spirit flowing through me, and so that's what I do. And unfortunately, in my life, I gave my flesh way too much power, way too much. And so now it's a little bit of it's actually a lot of a battle to stay close to Yahweh, because my flesh is really weak. But that's okay. That's okay. We're just gonna make the best of what we got, and thankfully, because of who Yahweh is and what he's done for us, he can take that little bit that we sow into his kingdom and multiply it. He's the one that multiplies the blessing. When Yeshua was with the multitude that were hungry, that's what he does. He prayed. He gathered the loaves and he prayed over it. He lifted it up to heaven. He was always thankful, always lifted up to heaven. And he thanked him. And the bread was multiplied and everybody ate. And so that's why we don't have to look at ourselves in that bad way. And so the perfecting is, he's going to do all that. Our role, our place is just to give him what we have. And so that's what I do when I pray, every time I pray. And so I was just wanting to share a little bit of that and not make this video too long. That's just stuff to think about. And sometimes